There is a concrete that has been standing in the sea for 2,000 years. Salt water should destroy concrete. It eats through the strongest modern harbor wall in a few decades. This one, the salt water makes stronger. Pour it, crack it, let the rain seep in, and the crack closes itself. The stone heals, the way a wound heals, sealing over from the inside. The Romans built harbors, aqueducts, and domes out of this material that are still standing today, unrepaired after 20 centuries. A dome they raised 1900 years ago is still the largest of its kind on Earth, and no steel holds it up. Now look at the concrete poured in your own city 40 years ago. The overpass, the parking structure, the sidewalk. It is already cracking, already crumbling, already being torn out and poured again. And you are paying for it again every time. We did not lose the recipe for a stone that lasts forever. We replaced it, and the replacement has a date. The year was 1824. This is the story of the building material the modern world was built to forget, and the patent that buried it. If you want the history that gets filed away as lost knowledge instead of removed knowledge, subscribe right now and turn on the bell. We open one of these every week, and the next one might change the way you look at the buildings you walk past every single day. To understand what was taken, you first have to understand what the Romans actually had, because we have been taught to think of them as primitive, men in sandals, hauling stone by hand. And then you stand under one of their domes and the story falls apart. The Pantheon in Rome was completed around the year 126. Its dome spans more than 40 meters of unreinforced concrete. No steel bars, no rebar, nothing inside it but the material itself. It has stood through 19 centuries of earthquakes, floods, fires, and war. It is still today the largest unreinforced concrete dome in the world. Not the largest from the ancient world. The largest, period. Nothing we have poured since has matched it without steel. And it is not alone. Roman aqueducts still carry water. Roman piers still stand in the sea. Roman harbor walls that were dropped into salt water 2,000 years ago are not only intact, they have grown harder over time. Think about that, because it is the opposite of everything you know about concrete. Modern concrete begins dying the day it is poured. Water gets in. Steel inside it rusts, swells, and cracks the stone from within. Salt accelerates it. A coastal bridge is considered old at 50 years and dangerous at 80. We have buildings barely older than your grandparents that are already condemned. The Romans had the reverse problem. Their sea structures got stronger the longer the ocean worked on them. A Roman writer of the time described their marine concrete becoming a single, massive stone, impregnable to the waves, growing more solid by the day. For most of modern history, scientists assumed he was exaggerating. He was not. Consider what they built with it. 2,000 years ago, on the coast of what is now Israel, the Romans constructed an artificial harbor at Caesarea, one of the largest in the ancient world, by lowering enormous blocks of this concrete directly into the open sea. There was no natural bay there. They made one, pouring a material that hardened underwater into breakwaters that could swallow the Mediterranean storms. Divers who study those submerged blocks today find them still bonded, still solid, the seawater having spent 2 millennia not destroying them, but knitting them tighter. Now picture the last thing built in salt water near you. Picture how long it was given to last. The Romans were not racing a 50-year clock. They were building for a world that had not been invented yet, and parts of that world arrived, and the harbor was still there to meet it. So how did they do it? For centuries, that was treated as a genuine mystery, a recipe simply lost to time, like so many things from the ancient world. And that is the official story. That is the version you will find if you look it up today. The knowledge faded when Rome fell. The skill died with the men who had it. Nobody wrote the formula down clearly enough, and so it slipped away. A tragedy, an accident of history, nobody's fault. And for a long time, that explanation held, because no one could reproduce what the Romans made. They knew the basic ingredients: lime, volcanic ash from the region around the Bay of Naples, a material the Romans called pozzolana, water, crushed rock. But mixing those same ingredients with modern methods did not produce the same miracle. The modern version did not heal. It did not strengthen in the sea, so the lost recipe story seemed to fit. Whatever the Romans knew, we had clearly forgotten it. Except we did not forget it. We have now found it. And the answer is far stranger than a lost recipe, because it turns out the Romans were not being careless. They were being precise in a way we only recently learned to see. In 2023, a team of researchers studying samples of ancient Roman concrete put the material under instruments the Romans could never have imagined, and they found something inside it that everyone before them had dismissed as a mistake. Scattered throughout the old concrete were small white chunks of lime. For 100 years, scientists who looked at Roman concrete saw these lumps and assumed they were errors, evidence of sloppy mixing, poorly blended material, the work of careless hands. They were treated as flaws. They were not flaws. They were the entire secret. The researchers discovered that the Romans had mixed their lime hot, combining it in a way that left these tiny reservoirs of reactive lime embedded all through the stone, like seeds. And here is what those seeds do. When a crack forms in the concrete and water trickles in, the water reaches one of these lime chunks and dissolves it. The dissolved lime flows into the crack, reacts, and recrystallizes, hardening into new stone that fills the gap and seals it shut. The concrete heals itself, not as a metaphor, as chemistry. A crack opens, water enters, and within weeks, the building has repaired its own wound, with no human hand involved at all. And the researchers proved it. They did not just theorize about the lime chunks. They made 2 batches of concrete, one using the ancient hot mixing method, and without, deliberately cracked them both and ran water through the cracks. The modern-style sample leaked straight through, the crack as open as the day it formed. The sample made the Roman way sealed itself shut within a couple of weeks, the lime reacting and recrystallizing until the water could no longer pass. Same basic ingredients. One simple difference in method, and one of them was alive in a way the other was not. The Romans had not stumbled into durability by luck. They had engineered a stone that maintained itself, and they had done it with an understanding of materials we are only now catching up to. This is not ancient magic. It is engineering so advanced that it took us until the 21st century, with electron microscopes, to even understand what we were looking at. The Romans built self-repairing structures on purpose, and we spent 2,000 years calling the evidence a mistake. Now hold that thought, because this is where the story stops being about Rome and starts being about us. Because if the secret was sitting right there in the stone the whole time, the obvious question is, why did the modern world build itself out of something so much worse? The answer arrives in the year 1824. In England, a bricklayer named Joseph Aston took out a patent for a new kind of cement. He called it Portland cement, because the gray stone it produced resembled the prized building stone quarried on the Isle of Portland. It was cheap. It was fast. It set hard in a matter of hours instead of curing slowly over years, and it could be made anywhere, from common limestone and clay, burned in a kiln and ground to powder. That patent, 1824, is the hinge the entire modern world turns on. Within a few generations, Portland cement had buried every older method of building. Not because it was better, because it was faster to pour, cheaper to ship, and simpler to sell. The whole planet now runs on it. It is the most manufactured material on Earth after water, and it does not heal. It does not strengthen in the sea. It begins to fail almost immediately, and when you reinforce it with steel to make it span further, you guarantee its death, because the steel inside will eventually rust, swell, and tear the concrete apart from within. We did not just adopt a weaker material. We adopted a material with a built-in expiration date, and there were men who noticed. This is the part of the story that does not appear in any textbook, and that this channel has pieced together from the kind of records that survive only by accident. In the decades after Aspen's patent, as Portland cement spread across the industrializing world, a handful of engineers and stonemasons, men trained in the old European building traditions, raised the same objection again and again. They had repaired Roman and medieval structures with their own hands. They knew from the stone itself that the ancients had built something more durable. And they argued that the new cement was a step backward, dressed up as progress. They were not cranks. They were the most experienced builders of their generation. One of them, by the account that comes down to us, was a quarry engineer who spent years documenting how the old lime-based mortars healed and hardened, where the new cement merely cracked. He prepared reports. He wrote to the men who controlled the contracts. He proposed, in plain language, that the industry was abandoning a superior method for a cheaper and shorter-lived one, and that the public would pay the difference for the rest of time in roads and walls that would never stop needing to be poured again. His objections went nowhere. There was no dramatic suppression, no men in dark coats, only silence and the slow total victory of the cheaper product. His reports were filed and forgotten. The contracts went to Portland Cement, as they were always going to, because Portland Cement was not chosen for how long it lasted. It was chosen for how fast it could be sold. And a man warning that a material lasts too long is not a man any industry has ever wanted to hear from. Now here is the part the textbooks will never connect for you. A building that lasts 2,000 years is built once. A building that fails in 50 is built and torn down and rebuilt over and over forever. One of those is a monument. The other is a subscription. I want you to sit with the difference, because it is the same logic that runs through every one of these stories. A material that lasts forever can only be sold to a man one time in his life. A material that crumbles is a material he must buy again, and his children must buy again, and their children after them. The crack is not a defect. The crack is the business model. I am not going to tell you that Joseph Aspdin sat in a room in 1824 and plotted the decay of the modern world. The narrative this channel reconstructs is simpler and colder than that, and it does not require a villain twirling a mustache. It only requires an industry, once it exists, choosing again and again the version of itself that makes more money, and quietly leaving the version that does not on the cutting room floor. And we know for a fact that industries do exactly this. You do not have to take it on faith. In the year 1925, almost the same moment Portland Cement was conquering the world, the largest light bulb manufacturers on the planet met in secret and formed an agreement to deliberately shorten the lifespan of the light bulb. Bulbs at the time could last 2,500 hours or more. The manufacturers agreed to engineer them down to 1,000. They find each other if their bulbs lasted too long. This is not a theory. It is documented history with names and contracts and meeting minutes. They called the design philosophy planned obsolescence, building a thing to fail so the customer has to buy another. That happened to light bulbs, out in the open by the most respectable companies of the age. And once you know it happened to the light bulb, the question is no longer whether industries shorten the life of what they sell. The question is only how many other things they did it to, and whether the most fundamental material of the built world, the very stone our cities stand on, was one of them. And the economics are not subtle. Think about who profits from a road that crumbles. The company that pours it the first time and then pours it again and again. The supplier who sells the cement every cycle. The steel mill that sells the rebar that guarantees the failure. An eternal material breaks that entire chain. It is poured once, and then it simply exists, generating nothing for anyone ever again. A failing material feeds an industry forever. When you understand that, you stop asking why the modern world chose the weaker stone. Of course it did. The weaker stone is the one that keeps the invoices coming. There was a material that lasted 2,000 years. We replaced it with one that lasts 50, and the replacement made certain men very, very rich, forever, with every crack that opened in every road in every city on earth. Here is why the story of the lost recipe worked so perfectly as a cover. Like the best of these stories, it has no villain in it. Nobody is blamed. There is no order to find, no signature at the bottom of a page. A recipe simply fades, the way old knowledge fades, and we shrug, and we mourn the cleverness of the ancients, and we pour another mile of crumbling road. But knowledge does not actually fade when the evidence is still standing in front of you. The Pantheon never fell down. The harbor walls never washed away. The recipe was never truly lost. It was sitting inside the stone the entire time. In those little white chunks of lime, everyone was trained to call a mistake. We did not lose the formula. We were taught not to look at it. And a thing you have been taught not to look at is not lost. It is hidden. There is a difference between forgetting and being made to forget, and the entire modern world is poured out of that difference. So the next time you walk under an overpass and see the rust stains bleeding down the concrete, the spiderweb of cracks, the steel showing through where the surface has spalled away, stop and look at it honestly. That is not what concrete has to be. That is what concrete was redesigned to be in 1824 so that it would have to be poured again. And then, if you ever get the chance, go and stand under the Pantheon. Put your hand on a wall that was raised before your language existed, that has outlived every empire that came after Rome, that healed its own cracks while 100 generations were born and died beneath it, and ask yourself why the most powerful civilization in history cannot build a parking garage that survives its own architect. We were told the Romans were primitive. We were told their secret was lost. We were told the stone in your city is simply the best we can do. None of that is true. The Romans built for eternity, on purpose, and we have the proof in our own laboratories now. The recipe was found, not lost. And the thing that replaced it was not an improvement. It was a decision, a quiet, profitable decision, made a long time ago, that the buildings of the future should not last. But the old stone is still standing. It did not get the message. 2,000 years on, the domes still hold, the harbors still take the waves, and the little seeds of lime still wait inside the walls, ready to heal a crack that will never come, in a building no one will ever have to tear down. They could not erase it. They could only make us stop looking. And a thing that is still standing, in plain sight after 20 centuries, was never really buried at all. It was just waiting for someone to ask the right question. You just did. If this opened something for you, subscribe and stay with me. Every week we pull one more thing back out of the ground they buried it in. And share this with the one person you know who has ever stood in an old building and felt, without knowing why, that something about it was simply built better. The next record opens soon.